everyone. We're so happy to be in community, both in the building and online. My name's Lorian Kennedy. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm your service leader this morning. For anyone new, I bid you a particular welcome. We're super happy you found us, and we hope you'll stay around after and ask your questions and visit with us. Please check out our website. There's lots of information there. And if you want to sign up in the guest book at the back with your email, we can send you information, or you can sign up that way online. And you're welcome to come to any of our events. Okay, I'm going to have to sit down again. This morning, our speaker is Reverend Audrey Brooks, and she's bringing us a dynamic 14-minute video called Building Bridges Across Faith Traditions. It's created by the Edmonton Interfaith Centre for Education and Action. There will be an opportunity for questions and discussion following the video, and we're also pleased that Netta Phillet, Executive Director of the Edmonton Interfaith Centre, is also here for that discussion. This is Netta here. And before we really begin, let us pause to remind ourselves that Edmonton, or Miskwascasi Waskagan, is the Cree name, meaning Beaver Hills House. In the spirit of reconciliation and decolonization, we express our solidarity with Indigenous communities in their fight for self-determination and recognize we all have a role in learning about the past and present realities and doing our part. So we've begun to develop a relationship with descendants of people who lived on this land with our Beyond Land Recognition speaker series. We've now had 4 sessions, I think, or 5, I'm not sure. And there will be more in the future. We're in the process of planning more events. So our opening words to light our flame, these words from Jennifer Gracken. We come together every week, bound not by a creed or a mutual desire to please one God or many gods, yet we are drawn together by belief that how we are in the world, who we are together, matters. We light this chalice together in the knowledge that love, not fear, can change this world. And now we'll start with our first song, This Little Light of Mine. We now have a time for candles of joy and concern. So candles of joy and concern are our moments where we talk about things that are joyful in our lives or meaningful, and things that may be difficult or things that are sad. So we invite you to share these with us. Come and speak at the mic, which I've now turned on, and then you can come and light a candle, and I'll clear a path so you can get out at the other end. And people online, if you want to raise your hand, and we will bring you onto the screen, and we can let you speak for yourself if you unmute yourself. So we'll start with the people in the building. So, Sylvia. Do we have any November birthdays to celebrate? Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Yeah. Janet, sorry, Janet. The 4th of November. Okay, any other birthdays? Well, you get to play yourself your happy birthday song, but we will sing. And I'm going to mute myself. Oh, sorry, Colin. Oh, sorry, Colin. Okay. I might just do one note version. Okay. Okay, so we're going to sing now. Thank you. Okay, go. One final candle. This is for all those things that are in our heart that we just keep private, maybe don't share. Okay. If you'd like to join me with the affirmation, may the light of these candles inspire us to use our power to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to serve the spirit of truth in loving affection and trusting hope. And I realize I've just doused the last candle here, so I'm not sure if I can get this to light because it's wet. Oh, there we go. Dawn. Today we light the first, let me put this on here. We light the first of our 4 Advent candles, the candle of hope. We are entering the season of anticipation, the marking of time leading up to an expected event. Here at Westwood, we mark the weeks leading up to winter solstice, the turning of the earth, which places us at the farthest angle from the sun, the shortest day and the longest night of the year. And let me get you the mic.
The candle of hope represents the resilience of humanity through life's challenges and trials. This candle is lit in the direction of east, the place of new beginnings, the breath of fresh air. Together we work toward a world where all living beings may experience safety and security, beauty and promise. And we help each other to remain hopeful when this work is hard. We now light the candle of hope, which I did already.
And I think now we have an Advent song from the choir. And Rebecca, are you going to speak to it, or just do you want to tell us what we're going to be doing? Or
okay. In my childhood, we used to have a tradition that we sang an Advent carol, and we would sing 1 verse the first week and 2 verses the second, and so on. And so I thought that would be really nice to do here. So today we're singing one verse. Cassie and I rewrote the words to Bring a Torch, Jeanette Isabella, for this purpose. So I hope you will enjoy verse 1 of Westwood's Advent Carol.
Bill, Hannah, Brenda, Niscaro are helping with connecting us online. David preparing coffee, and the many hours of volunteering that go on in all our different events and activities. The reconciliation group hosting Beyond Land Acknowledgement, the dinners last night. There was lots of running around and work and community with that. So thank you to everybody. So if you wish to support us in what this community is doing, we would welcome your donations. And if you want to leave something in the donation box, I think I didn't put it out, but will. Or if you want to give something online, you can do an e-transfer to info@westwoodunitarian.ca, and the information is also on a paper there on the wall. So could we sing our song? So, the big part. I'd like to introduce Reverend Audrey Brooks. Reverend Brooks is well known to many of us through her many years of involvement at the Unitarian Church of Edmonton and in numerous groups in Edmonton, including the Raging Grannies. She's a retired chaplain with the Unitarian Church of Edmonton, and she's a current board member of the Edmonton Interfaith Centre. So Audrey, if you would like to come up, and I will give you the hand mic. Here's your water.
I guess I didn't know what order we were doing this, so well, we should do the film first. Okay, Netta knows more about the production of this film than I do, and afterward, if you want to ask some questions, I've coerced her into coming and being that point person. So I think we'll do that. Show the film first, and then we'll. I have some words that are connected with it afterward. Okay, thank you.
Baha'is believe that all religions come from the same source, and that the purpose of all of these religions is to unite people and to teach us about love and teach us how to become more peaceful and harmonious. So this interfaith harmony is so critical.
The Edmonton Interfaith Centre for Education and Action is the first of its kind in Canada. It is a coalition, a community of 13 or more faith traditions, which are many of our first dialogues were just among the Abrahamic faiths, Jewish, Christian, Muslim. But we're in a city populated by Jains and Zoroastrians and Sikhs and Buddhists and Hindus and indigenous people, and people who profess to be atheists have a place at the table as well.
When I discovered the Interfaith Centre in the late 1990s, I joined immediately and became involved because it's so important. Because the more we know about each other, the better we get along, and the fewer misunderstandings we'll have.
We all have to learn how to cooperate and figure out how to get along. Otherwise, you do end up with wars. And so the only way you work with that is trying to understand each other a little bit better and finding your common ground. What things do you all believe in? What things do you all hold important?
The important thing is the ethics, how you treat other people and how you see other people. That's the important thing. That's part of that commonality.
My name is John Dowds, and my position in the city is I'm the lead chaplain and the senior mental health consultant for the City of Edmonton employees and their families. So this is the Celebrating Our Faith cabinet. And the purpose of the cabinet is to give the faith communities that are a part of the Interfaith Centre an opportunity to tell their story. I think we have a great lack of understanding of other faith traditions, and lack of understanding sometimes either breeds contempt sometimes or fear. I think the more we understand and the more we talk, then there's a greater sense, there's a greater opportunity to break down some of the walls of fear. We can't do that if we keep talking about us and them.
Today's global fight is not between peoples, communities, or religions. It is between all moderates of all faiths against all extremists in all religions.
A lot of the times religion has been corrupted by people who have selfish desires or want power or money or want to use religion as a means to control.
It's not about religion, it's about power, and it's about politics like everything else. It's about exploiting the flaws in human nature, how easy it is to turn one group of people against another on a religious basis or an ethnicity basis, Hutus and Tutsis, Germans and Jews. It's not about religion. And if we had more religious literacy, people would know that. But
if you look deep enough into each religious group, you've got good and bad people in there. So to me, it has nothing to do with the faith or the lack of faith. It has to do with the person and what values they hold and how they were raised and things like that. So faith is a vehicle for it, but not the necessary vehicle for it.
I think what unifies is our common commitment to peace and justice and compassion, and to be this voice for the offended, victimized, and oppressed. We're still coming to terms with truth and reconciliation with Indigenous people, and Indigenous people have been part of the Edmonton Interfaith Centre almost from its beginnings.
Indigenous spirituality was rejected by the church itself many years back. Their spirituality is deeply rooted into Mother Earth, into the land, into the relationship with the people. So how they practiced in their own way has to be brought back.
Father talked about the importance of healing together as all nations. And we come together here, that's why I'm here, because I separated from the church when I was a young boy, and through my own personal healing came back.
It's so important to understand our own values, our own traditions, and to share them openly and honestly. When we don't share who we are as individuals, like the different cultures, it creates fears. You're standoffish against those people. So you don't want to deal with them, and you're afraid to ask them anything. So that creates blockages, and it creates hatred.
I think education is the key. Very often, a lot of hatred is based on misunderstanding, on stereotypes, and you need to break those barriers down. The only way you do it is through dialogue.
Leaders of every country, every belief, every neighborhood need to take a clear and public stand against intolerance of any kind.
the tendency often is something good happens and we sort of think, oh, well, good, our work is done, things are looking up. And then there'll be some ghastly incident somewhere in the world, and we realize that it's only a facade, and it doesn't take much to break through that and see that there is still so much misunderstanding and hatred, true hatred.
Well, take a look at this note right here, left on the doorstep of this Edmonton mosque behind me earlier this week. Its content enough for Edmonton police to submit this for an investigation to its hate crimes unit, with local Muslim officials telling us it's just part of a larger disturbing trend.
A lot of people act the way that they act because they're ignorant to the reality of other religions. They do not have the awareness or the education that they need to understand and respect each other's point of view. I think once we start respecting and understanding that each person has the right to their own faith within their family, within their community, we can just live better together.
Too often, at the extremes are radical elements that aren't at all reflecting the essence of the values of their respective faith traditions. When they've been targeted, there's been this great uprising of people from a whole variety of faith traditions to say, this was not right, how are you okay, and what can we do to help you?
We had a couple of just fellow citizens that came by and with flowers and said, we're here with you, we support you, we love you. So it's been really sweet. It showed the true colors of all Albertans.
My name's Carl Fakeley, and I teach religious studies, which includes world religions. What I'm hoping that my students get from this is the opportunity to experience these various places of worship and to learn from people who are leaders in these communities and experience them in a way that would be far more in depth than just simply reading about it in a textbook, and to learn about it in a very real way, to see how the people in these communities are helping within their communities, being there to support one another.
What we are here right now, we're actually in the Langar Hall. Basically, a Langar Hall is a community kitchen. It's probably around 18, 19 hours a day that we serve food to every single person that comes through that door. Doesn't matter of their religion, doesn't matter of their sexual orientation, nothing like that. So if you guys want to just line up, grab a plate and head to the front there, and they'll serve you there. Grab whatever you like, and if you guys want samosas, they're going to be on that table as well. And the thing with a Langar Hall is that everyone sits on the floor and eats, right? Doesn't matter if it's a king, a queen, and that represents equality, and humankind is all one. The Sikh belief is that we are all part of one God, right? It's just the way we worship God is different, right? It is only one creator in the world.
Like, no matter your religion, no matter your sexual orientation, race, everyone's welcome here. There's respect everywhere, and it's quite nice to see, actually.
People come who are addicted, people who have no homes, people who are really marginalized. Like last night, I had 3 men asking for shoes and socks, and I gave them whatever we had. So these are daily needs. These are the people directly, they need our help. They know that we go to Sacred Heart, there is something is available.
We do the food bank, we go and volunteer there. We also have a stretch of highway that we clean up, and just regularly there'll be events every now and again where we'll decide to go and volunteer and do things. We've actually got one of our members that's a regular with Catholic Social Services that she volunteers.
In Judaism, we have the concept of tikkun olam, to repair the world. If you're going to talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. And you have to follow up whatever you say with actual positive actions to change those things that are wrong.
A mosque in North Edmonton is opening its doors as we speak to anyone who doesn't have a warm place to sleep tonight.
Within moments of them putting out a request for help, there was an outpouring of support from volunteers, not just people from this community, people of all religions and cultures.
I think we had about 70 people throughout the whole week that came in and out. And again, that is just our duty as citizens. It really has nothing to do with what religion you practice.
What Baha'is are doing with their friends and their neighbors all across the world. They get together once a weekend and they think about what they can do to help grow their own spiritual qualities like love and patience and compassion, and how they can use these qualities to be of service to their neighbors. And then they do some service projects for their communities.
Loving kindness, compassion, these are all things that all faith traditions teach. So if we can really bring those qualities into our life and try to build on them more and more, regardless of which faith tradition or lack of faith tradition we belong to, if we can concentrate on those guidelines, those principles, we can develop all in the same direction. It doesn't matter what faith tradition we belong to.
Now look at my veins, they're blue. All of us have blue veins. So that tells me we're all royalty, that we're all equal. None of us are superior to the others. We're all human, all created by the same divine being.
4 years ago, we helped create the UN's Global Interfaith Harmony Week, an event to focus all people, especially young people, on the essentials of tolerance and coexistence.
The World Interfaith Harmony Week was a United Nations response to a growing awareness and appreciation of interfaith work around the world.
My name is Len Gurok, and I have the pleasure of hosting tonight's event as part of World Interfaith Harmony Week 2019.
We are all one people. And this is one of the tenets of the Unitarian Church of Edmonton and of the Edmonton Interfaith Centre. So this concert is put on every year to emphasize that unity.
Dr. King had a great quote about why segregation didn't work. He said, people fear because they don't know. He said, they don't know because they don't communicate, and they don't communicate because they're separated. So let's tear that curtain down.
In my mind, the patron saint of the Edmonton Interfaith Centre is the late Mary Hall. And it's this little quote here that I find quite attractive and I think is a wonderful quote for any kind of interfaith work. It is in the shelter of each other that people live.
Film. I have a blatant interest in it, of course, seeing that both Netta and I had little parts to play. One of the things that motivated me to speak today was the fact that Lorian told me that the theme for the month was connections. Is that right? And as you can see by the film, connections are very, very important to the concept of interfaith harmony and collaboration with one another, being a part of one family, being one part of the universe, and so on. So I just wrote a few notes about that. What kind of connections do we make first? And the first connection is that we are the sacred self. As you can see by the film, video, I should say, that there is the divine within each of us. There is a divine that we may consider out there in the universe. But one of the things is, what do we feel about ourselves? And we are the sacred self. We can't do any of those things that are in that video. We can't do anything in the community, within our families, with anywhere else in the world, unless we understand that there's no magic out there. There is no magic out there. Whatever we are is the sacred self within. I'm reminded of the film, The Gods Must Be Crazy. And the first time I saw that, I thought, this is not real, that a Coke bottle should fall from the sky and this tribe of people who had no contact with modernity at all see this thing that has never happened before, and all of a sudden there is a response to it. If it comes from the sky, then it must have been sent by a divine being, a God. And there is a whole dramatic and sometimes very ironic story about that. And that stuck with me for so many years because I started out as a Roman Catholic, convent schooled, the whole business. And then I got to the My Lai massacre where I saw a little Vietnamese woman holding a little girl in her arms and one in her hand, being strafed by an American plane as I was ironing in Flin Flon, Manitoba, with 4 kids in the bedrooms. And I took my iron and I raved, I can't tell you for how long, saying that if you have to take the life of one of those babies to prove your power over Satan, you are not my God. So I went through years and years of real anger about that. And along came my sister-in-law who was going to have a child and said, you should help me find a church. Well, they ended up at Jehovah's Witnesses, and I'm here to tell you that I am not disfellowshipped. I am still a Jehovah's Witness who taught me many things about research and looking at the parts of the church, Catholic Church for the worship of Mary and all of that stuff, without whom, by the way, I never would have got to university because they taught me bibliography, they taught me research and all of those things that as a housewife in northern Manitoba in the 1960s, there was nothing going on there. There was no hell and, on the spaceship, nothing was there. So what I felt when I came to the Unitarian Church was, it was amazing because my friend, who was Corey Rensing, we were at the Waskahegan hikers together, and she invited me to a Bring a Friend Sunday. And I thought, well, I'm not crazy. There are people out there who think like I think, and that it is okay for me to have had a faith journey. And Rob Brownlee said to me, he said, you got to do something about your hate against God. He says, because it's eating you up. And he said, you should go to a seminary and sort yourself out. And I was teaching at Vic at the time. They said, oh, somebody's nominated you for a sabbatical with full pay. And talk about a divine intervention, because as I said, there was nobody home up here. And so what the video does is it reflects back to me what the journey of faith is. And that there's no shame in having had that journey because it makes us who we are as the sacred self. That's number one, recognizing that we are the sacred self. The second the second connection is one of kinship. And for me and for people of like mind, the family is the connection. After self is family. Now that family doesn't have to be my genetic family, some of whom I wish I could give away. I have one son who is in his 60s, who, when he does something dumb, I say, I'm so sorry I didn't give you to the gypsies when you were born, because we have a Hungarian background. And he said, well, they sent me back. So there's humor, but there are also times when your genetic family should leave home, or you should leave home, one or the other. The other family that we have, and many of us do, are our extended families. But for me right now, I have my 5th Ukrainian family living with me. And I've had students from my time and teaching who are also still in my life. I'm also part of the Unitarian Church drag shows for the kids who are finding themselves in their sacred self, in places where I would never go. But the support is there, the freedom is there to be who they are. So the family. Now I'm getting to the most important part for me, and I know that Westwood has this same deep love. And this is number 3, and it's the larger community. Oh, whoops, wrong page. It's the idea of our connection with Earth. Yes, I probably don't need the notes for that anyway. What happens with the sacred self, it has to connect with the other sacred self, which is Mother Earth. We don't have anything in our lives that is not connected with our relationship to the earth. The cycles, the solstices, the semaine, all of the things that are created there are also a part of our creation. When we do not have that understanding and that melding of relationship, then we deny ourselves in through ignorance or deliberately taking ourselves away from the real reason for our existence. We are the sun, we are the moon, we are all of these things together. And lately we heard about all of the stories about how the trees are not just a tree like this one sitting here and you take it out by its roots and that's the end of it, but they have an entire underground relationship. It's a family, it's a genetic family, and it's an insult to the whole concept of environmental relationships to decide that we should rip them all out. When we ripped out the trees, we rip out entire families, animal, vegetable, mineral, the whole thing. The example for us is we destroy the earth. It doesn't take much longer for people of greed and anger and brutality to turn that around and do the same thing to each other. One of the things that stands on my memorial stone is a quote, and I never found out the author, was that humanity stands in a river of its own blood. If we look around the world, and people who should be like the ones in the video are ripping apart the entire fabric of humanity. We could go to any country in the world. At one time, I read a list at the Genocide Memorial Service that had, I'm sure, 80 countries where there was now some kind of violence going on. Now, I have a German friend that I took care of his family for 10 years, and he had been commandeered by the Hitler Youth to participate in that Holocaust and all of that. And he said after Berlin was bombed that he went around and they had to pick up parts of people. Now, this is a German boy. And he said he found under a stairway a woman with a newborn baby in her arms. And he said they were so perfect, it looked like the Madonna, but the implosion had killed them. And for the rest of his life, he told that story over and over and over and over again. And he said to me, he says, he said, the army knows that they're going to war and they know they can be killed. But he said, it's the fathers and the mothers and the babies and the children that are the ones who die. And it's not anything, he said, to do with those people. He says it has to do with the politics, greed, and evil. And I've always remembered that remark from him. Because we destroy the earth, we destroy people, we destroy all the good things that could be happening among us as relatives. And I like the fact that the Indigenous people use that term. All my relatives. I look at you all out there, you're all my relatives. That is the truth. That is the truth. And I don't have anything more to say except that inviting you to attend the 15th annual Genocide Memorial. We have people speaking there from the continents. We have someone from Ghana, we have Latin America, we have Muslim faith and Jewish. They're all there. And this is my swan song. It'll be the last time I do it because I'm getting old and decrepit. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions about the film, please ask myself, or I'll pass the microphone to Netta, who is my sidekick. Okay.
Time here for questions, so I can see a couple here. And for people on Zoom, could you bring the Zoom people back on the screen too? So if they have questions, we can see if they have any questions and give them a chance. So Sylvia.
Would you like me to stand somewhere? Okay. So I have two questions. First of all, thank you for speaking so clearly and beautifully. The first question I'm having, do you need any time for yourself?
Don't ask me that question.
Or maybe I should also ask my second question, then I don't have to. And my second question is that I was wondering, you were speaking about the divine being in us. I always thought that the divine, or I usually call it universal knowing, is somewhere up here, and we are all able to tune in with it or not. We do it or we don't, but as I understood you, it's in us. So I like a little clarification to change what I've been thinking 60 years.
Ooh, well, my faith journey has been so very interesting that I believe that there isn't a divine being, no daddy or mommy up there that's going to give me sweets if I'm good and kick my butt if I'm bad. But there is, I think, a universal energy in the same sense that Albert Einstein talked about it. That we are, our whole bodies are energy. We're water, but look at us, we're electrical beings and all of those kinds of things. So there's no denying that. But to think that there's some magic up there that we have to placate, we have to burn candles, or we have to do magic or sacrifice goats or kids, or take your pick, that's just not possible. It's a very primordial, ancient kind of thing that people did because of their ignorance, or because they saw things on the earth that were puzzling, and they have to have understanding, and they created it in an anthropological way. That's why we have so many religions in different countries. If I find a Coke bottle, that's my God, and that's legitimate for that tribe. If we find that kind of thing in baptism and in the words of Jesus, who was a total rebel. The fella got hung because he carried a cross on the Friday on a parade, because there was a belief system there that had to follow a certain messianic story. And we all have those stories. Every person in here, if I handed this microphone to, would have a faith journey. We had a professor at the seminary where I went, David Wallrath, who was an evangelical Lutheran, and we had to have a faith journey, otherwise you couldn't get your master's in divinity, because you have to explain what you believe. And he asked me, what was your concept of humanity? And I said, it was a kaleidoscope. He looked at me, he says, well, Unitarianism is right for you. He says, you don't have a bias. And he said something to the group at the time, and we had this all on tape, so I've got it on a cassette tape somewhere. He said, if you have only one way that you look, and you allow no other light to come in to that, he says, it's like your faith is in a box. You're in one direction only, and everybody else is wrong, and this is where it goes. He says that is where fanaticism begins. And this was a man that I thought would just absolutely trash a Unitarian because of his very strong evangelical approach to faith. So in that class, we had two former nuns. We had Seventh-day Adventists who thought I was being abused and said to them that they should clean up their act and treat me better because I was older than all of them. And every one of them had their personal journey that we had to do, and they were as different as day and night. And what was your other question? Oh, I do. I nest. And people nag me, but it doesn't do any good because I'm a type A, as is my friend Netta. We live in our own whirlwind. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Were there any questions from people on Zoom? Khaled, if you're saying yes, are you interested? No, okay, they were just adjusting something. Okay, there was another question here from the floor. Etta?
Okay, when is the event, the memorial service? That's on December the 8th, is it?
And that's at your place?
Audrey has brought us some posters, so we will have one here. We have one here now, and you can look at that for all the details of the address.
What about the 10th? There's something going on the 10th of December, isn't there?
Audrey's saying that was the closing date for the, you repeat it.
It's 75th anniversary convocation, Declaration of Human Rights.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, I think the choir has something for us now. Sing. It's our second song, number 1057, Go Lifted Up. Some words from Eric Williams. My friends, really, my friends, may the spirit of love be a living flame before you, a guiding star above you, a firm path below you, and a gentle presence behind you. And we will now have the peace chant.